Thanks for staying with us. So, there's a story of a woman seeking justice over wrong diagnosis. According to the report, she was misdiagnosed with breast cancer and had her breast cut off. However, she was later proven not to have any disease at all. We do not have both versions of the story or any link with the involved parties, but our discussion generally will be on wrong medical diagnosis in women. Have you experienced this before? Is this a story you're familiar with or you know of? You can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 091-390-76948. And you can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. So this is almost like a Nigerian story. We've all heard of or familiar with these kind of stories where somebody goes to the hospital for one thing and then they are diagnosed for something totally different from what they expected, and before they know it, they've started taking medication just for them to have the opportunity to travel abroad or somewhere else or go to get a second opinion in a different hospital, and they find out they never had that disease in the first place. And this has happened several times. I'd like to hear your stories before we take our phone lines. YK, I know it happened to your sister.
Yes. And I've said it on this set before. My sister, she went with stomachache to the hospital. They said she had a peptic ulcer. Then they operated against our better judgment. They operated, and they said, no, it was ectopic pregnancy. And then they said, and then even until we left the hospital, they had not diagnosed. But she now started losing the use of her limbs. She couldn't walk. They put her in a cast. I mean, I really don't want to relive that story, because even when we moved her to the other hospital, it was just as bad. Till they gave her chemotherapy, one eye came out like this. My sister suffered. She suffered. I see those doctors now, I don't greet them. I can't greet them. One of the doctors died. You know when you hear someone that, you are just like, don't you, go and meet my sister, go and judge yourselves there. You know, I thought that with COVID, we would get the medical system right. But we still haven't, because the COVID showed us how bad the medical system is in Nigeria. You can't be admitted, you can't do anything, they have to open isolation center for you.
Well, interestingly, YK, we have good doctors in Nigeria. I mean, it's amazing. I know you are, I know you're not. I'm just taking it from a different angle that, considering the fact that we have good professionals, doctors in that industry who actually know the work, but they're not being supported by the tools, the appropriate tools sometimes to execute their work. Because I've had the opportunity to speak to a few doctors who have practiced abroad. And they come here and they say they know what to do. But unfortunately, there are always issues of politicking, administrative inadequacies across the hospitals, things that are beyond their own control. So, yes, they diagnose you, but there are certain things, tests they need to make that unfortunately, the hospitals don't have this equipment for them. So, you're right, there's issue of malpractice as a person, and it's also issue of poor infrastructure in our hospitals.
Which is why I'm saying it's exposed, COVID exposed
both
the bad of our hospitals.
Yes.
Because if we would have been able to contain it, if the hospitals had been ready. They are not ready. God forbid Ebola enters here again. God forbid. I've promised myself that if I hear that it enters through the airport, this is how I will sit in my house, I will not step out of the gate. Because it's not die. Not die. So what I'm trying to say is we have to start to repair these things. Then the doctors too. I mean, I cannot forget when I was giving birth. I can't forget when I was giving birth.
I'll come to that story. Let me hear the initial thoughts of the other ladies.
So initially I was thinking that, you know, because of the inefficiencies we have in our medical history in Nigeria, that this case is peculiar to us. But I did a little bit of research and I realized that in Australia, Oyibo countries, they have over 140,000 cases of misdiagnosis every year. So that brought to my attention that this is not just a case of Nigeria, it's a medical issue that happens across the world. And there could be a lot of factors that, you know, could make it happen. The human nature is dynamic. We keep changing. Today they see new disease. Tomorrow, before they finish giving a name to that disease, another disease has popped up. They see this cancer today. So, okay, so even this COVID-19, we hear that it's mutating. It's changing, it's moving, it's growing, it's adapting. So while you are still finding a cure for this particular one, another one has mutated. And you know, these things are not rocket science. It takes time. It takes time to be able to build procedures that work. It takes time to be able to...
Well, there's some basic things that we ought to know. So somebody comes for a stomach ache. We have malaria. There's certain... Because, I mean, anytime we have medical doctors here, I keep asking them the same question, and nobody has been able to answer. When you go to the hospital, the first thing you're treated for is either malaria or typhoid, maximum.
Without tests?
No, I don't mean with tests.
Okay.
That's what it's... But there are other issues. So you come with all these other major clinical problems, but they can't determine it because for the first 1 month, you are rather treating malaria, second time, they now raise it to typhoid. After typhoid, they now admit you. Before they now finally diagnose you for what is really doing you,
like
that already doesn't work.
A friend of mine, his father was diagnosed with malaria and typhoid for over 1 year. When he went to South Africa, he was in stage 4 cancer, and he died.
Let me come to you, Maria.
Yeah, so, that's sad. That's really sad. So, you know, one thing with, like as both of them said, I also agree that there are two faces to this medical malpractice, especially in Nigeria, is that one, we do have people who make mistakes, the doctors who make mistakes, who misdiagnose you, who do the test wrong, or someone does not read the test results right. That happens. And also because we have a number of quack, fake doctors, pharmacists, and because of how expensive it is to get medical care in Nigeria, a lot of people would rather do some of these things by themselves. I'm a good Google doctor because I'm thinking, okay, if I have to stop at this hospital just to see the doctor, I'm dropping 20,000 naira just for him to look at me and then tell me, go and get a malaria tablet. So somehow I figured it out, like, okay, what are my symptoms? Google, da-da-da-da-da-da. So it takes some time before I even finally end up at the hospital. Then secondly, we just do not seem to have a strong legal, you know, when it comes to like lawsuits against people, against people who do this. When a person finds out that they were misdiagnosed or mistreated and it caused death, most families just want to end it. You know, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Like you have said, I don't want to relieve this. I just want to move on. And because of that, it seems that many people in Nigeria can get away with malpractices like that. We have the story of a particular medical practitioner who had been going around doing some butt injections or butt surgery for people, liposuctions for people, and the cases, you know, they ended up in death, more than 2-3 deaths. And it took a long time before we finally heard something that was being done. And she's not the only one. A lot of medical practitioners get away with evil in this country. And so those are the two things we need to talk about. How much it costs, so people are not taking, you know, they're not taking their health into their hands. And also what happens when there's a medical malpractice.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, let's take a few calls. I'd like to hear our viewers' experiences in this regard. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So you can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag TVC so we can read your tweets. It's important we have these conversations once in a while because we've had this conversation before, and it's a constant reminder to our leaders of the importance importance of ensuring that adequate investments and steps are put into the medical sector, because there are many of us that don't have the opportunity to travel abroad and to get all the second opinions. This is all we have. We can only go to the general hospitals. Many of us can't even afford to go to a private clinic. We have to go to the general hospital. So I know in many cases the general hospitals are actually better because they are financed by the government. However, there's always issue of crowd. Do they have bed spaces enough for us? You know, they don't have capacity to accommodate the numbers. So there's always those issues. That's why people have to go to private hospitals. But it's a reminder to the government on how important it is for them to invest in this sector.
Yes, that would have been my next point, the general hospitals. Because if you look at Luth, the way Luth was built, Luth is actually a beautiful hospital. If it was well financed and well managed, it would be a first class. The same thing with the Badon the University Teaching Hospital in Ibadan.
Yeah.
They are world-class structures.
Yes.
If the correct investment was put into them, and there was no brain drain, because the best doctors in the world are Nigerians. The best doctors are Nigerians, and they are all abroad.
Let me take this call from Bimbo. Bimbo, are you there? Thanks for calling. Hello, Bimbo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I actually want to share my own personal experience. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, maybe now the volume has been put up. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. In 2016, I for a mammogram here in Lagos, and they did about two. And the result came out that, oh, blah, 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 they had cancer, not me. So I was like, oh, no, I have to have a second opinion. And I traveled to the UK with the mammogram. And I went into the doctor.
It's
they
difficult.
put me on the line, and they said, no way, you don't have anything next to cancer at all. So for them, they put me on ultrasound, and they said, I don't even have the cells. Meanwhile, they were actually advising me here.
We missed that. They were advising you here. Sorry, we missed that. They were advising you here what?
That I should go to LATO. They actually gave me a referral letter.
Okay.
To LATO. That probably they would have to cut off my breast. So because of the experience my late dad had, that he had an operation on his prostate, and they didn't know it was cancer before it was too late. You know, I said no, I was going to have a second opinion in the UK. And I could see the ultrasound, and you know, they understand those things better. And you know, they said there was no cells called cancer. They even actually did another biopsy again to be double sure.
Thank you very much, Bimbo. We're having trouble hearing you very clearly, but I think we got the point of what you said. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
so she had, go ahead, Mariam.
Yeah, so this reminds me of there was a time that I wasn't feeling well, and I was doing series of tests, and they had to do a CT scan for me, and this was a Lagos hospital, government hospital, where I was given a note from the private hospital because they had that CT scan machine. And when I got there were these two young boys. I'm not saying young people cannot be doctors or, you know. And he gave me a Ragolis bottle of something. You need to take it so that when they do the scan. Yes. So he said to me, so I was like, am I supposed to finish everything? He said, all right, maybe not everything. Just try, Sha. That's what he told me. It was like, just try. If you can do this, if you can do this. So I thought, okay, let me prove to him that I'm a courageous person. So I finished it. When I got, he was like, you finished it? I said, bros, you said whether this or this. You did not say to me exactly 2 spoons or 3 spoons. And then I'm showing you. And then so I was anxious. I was laid on the thing, and they were arguing between themselves. Is it left? Is it right? I was so scared. So I called my husband. I said, I'm not doing this. But my husband, old school, and he said, no, don't worry, you'll be fine. Left to me, I wanted to just get up and say, I'm not doing it. And they proceeded to finally do it. While we were doing it, I just threw up all over.
Gosh.
Do you understand? Because I was just so afraid. Anyway, I got my test result. But then I had the opportunity of going abroad to do the same CT scan. And then they asked me, do you have any allergies or anything? I said, yeah. So the last time when they gave me this thing, I threw up. So I'm allergic to that particular whatever. When they did it, I mean, I was there, in, out. They asked me, what kind of music would you like to listen to? What sort of, you know? it was so seamless. It didn't even seem like a whole, like a procedure, like anything was done quickly in and out. So we do have that issue where we need more investment, as you said, in our health sector.
Let me take this call from Olaoluwa. Are you still there, Olaoluwa?
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Okay. Number one, medical is very expensive in Nigeria, to be honest. You said something about going to the general hospital, go there, hospital that are there. As I'm talking now, presently, a few people I know of a neighbor's son that went there, and they were
So,
they asked them to write their numbers.
You know, two neighbors, and we missed up. What did you say now? You say that again.
I said I know somebody that went to last week.
Yeah.
They were told to write their phone numbers and they would call them back.
Okay.
But let me give you another example. During the COVID last year, I had a backache. So I wanted to go to my own private hospital. In England. You know, he was there, he studied in England, and he worked there for so long. So and I called him. I said, "Oh, I'm actually having backache." Blah, blah. And I said, "And I'm on my way to so hospital." And I said, "No, come, let me see you." And all those. I went to a particular hospital that is for federal government, but they have a private side for private people. So getting there, they actually told me, go and do MRI. And the MRI is just beside a nice visit. In fact, let me just put it, at Igbobi. They have a private side at Igbobi. So I went there and they told me, go and do MRI. And he actually told me, my friend told me, you know the reason for this MRI? It will actually show your problem, what is wrong with you. But if you just... I went to MRI, just beside a place they call amenity building. I paid 75,000 for the MRI.
Wow.
The following day, I was able to see the overall doctor there. It was as if it was a miracle. The questions they asked me while I was young, when I got back, 30 and a little below 30, you understand? By the time I finished with the doctor, I was already okay. I can tell you 72 hours, something that took me months in my house. To the fact that I would even put anointing oil. I will pray about it. 72 hours, all the pain disappeared.
Wow.
I look at myself. I told myself, if I don't have money for MRI.
Thank you very much, Olaoluwa, for sharing that. Mariam, could you?
Yeah,
I wanted to get a wrap up of what you picked up what she said.
Well, she was just, no, I didn't finally get it.
I didn't get it. But
I
think
think
about how much
it was difficult
there
to...
was once, I think I ate something that was really bad for me. So I woke up in the middle of the night. I had to go to the hospital. I was writhing in pain. They rushed me to the hospital. I got there. They gave me an injection to ease the pain. So for like a couple of days, I had to be going. Do you know the one that they gave me stomach test, you know, go under the kidney? Then the doctor looks at me and said, I think you have noodles on your liver. So we will operate. You know, when I heard that one like this, you know, they had already killed my sister by this time. And you all said, thank you very much. I'll be coming for the noodle test. That was about 10 years ago. Me.
You're fine.
I'm fine. That's how they would have just
cut you open.
And I will not be here again.
What about the ones that they
Which
forget
noodle are they
items?
looking for?
They
Noodle on their own
carry out
liver.
operation and they forget items in their body. I had a church member recently who a towel was forgotten when she did the
Jesus Christ.
appendicitis. So it's
In
been
Nigeria or abroad?
Nigeria here, and she's been, you know, feeling sick. She's been going to the hospital. They could not diagnose what happened, only for them to scan again, X-rayed, and discover that there was a towel from the theater when she did her appendicitis that was forgotten in her stomach. And they had to take her out. But another thing I wanted to highlight is the welfare of these doctors are very important. We had someone who slumped recently after 72-hour shift, and he hadn't been paid for about 3 months. Now, when somebody is thinking of food, thinking of children's school fees, thinking of everything, and the person has a life to cater to. Overworked. Where do you think he will pay attention to diagnosing properly or reading your...
there was one time I had stomach pain.
We have to go on a break. Let me go on a quick break.
Okay.
We might have to wrap up on this, but I think
Can I quickly say
generally... I know you can't take this. Let me take a break. I have to come back. When you come back, we'll take this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.